especially in the future, you know what I mean? Like the plans that I have for Protect Your Light are very big. It's just like I'm still in the getting it off the ground stage, but it's really important to me. I actually wrote a lot of the concept while making a campfire, which is like why a campfire is kind of like my thing. In Joshua Tree, it was actually, I was on drugs. That doesn't take away the epiphany though. Because
hey, what's up, world? Welcome to another Cognition, the podcast that explores how the power of thought can shift reality and culture. I'm Lonnie Rowe.
I'm Demarius,
and we're here with my bro, Patrick Cloud.
It's a cool name. I never asked the name. It's a pretty cool podcast name.
Another Cognition, yeah, man. We're here to just chop with you, bro. I'm gonna try to keep the audience in mind while talking to you, because I know we can just get into some like nostalgic back in our day type stuff.
Hey, I'm here for all that.
I know, we're here for that. We're here for that. But we have been interviewing exceptional creators, you know, and we want to help them to talk about their process out loud so that other people can take from it, you know what I mean? Okay. And take the tips where they need be. Patrick Cloud, where do we start with an introduction for this dude, man? Like, all-deaf digital content creator, you know what I'm saying? Like, entrepreneur, hair snacks. I see you smelling like mango in here.
Hey, what is that? Oh, what is it? That's crazy. It's actually this. It's called hair snacks. So it's kind of a beat up bottle, but it's one of the samples. You know, I don't know. We were just I threw that on my scalp. It's a little.
Put that right here.
It's a snack for the scalp. Mango lime cedarwood.
And who's your business partner with this?
Sabrina Johnson. Sabrina Johnson.
Made for you. She has another brand. Ooh, hair snack smelling bomb.
We got a fall flavor coming out pretty soon.
We're gonna put that right there for the people to see.
Side note, being at a bottling factory sucks.
What do you mean?
We were just hanging out at a bottle factory waiting for like Tapatio and all them. Is this like a clean podcast?
Nah, go ahead, bro.
Well, that was just weird. We were just waiting for like a whole bunch of like companies that were way more important than us to like get their orders through. But yeah, we were just this. We were just right in the vein of that. So I'm glad you brought it up.
That's crazy because you right in where the money's being made. If you next to Tapatio and like,
no, not like competitively, like in line. Jesus, we're not competing with Tapatio. No, it's just like, you know, we put an order of bottles in, and then like their truck backs up. It's like, okay, we're gonna be here for like an hour and a half. They don't know who we are.
It's downtown, right?
Yeah. It's the only bottling company in LA, so it's kind of hectic.
Damn, man, but like, I still want to finish giving people a proper introduction. I know a lot of people have seen renditions of your shit, bro. A lot of people know about dad jokes.
Roast me.
But they don't know that it starts with this dude right here. You feel me?
Yeah.
Nationwide, bro. Nationwide impact. That's so crazy for me to you know, realize, you know, just that from that barnyard, you know what I'm saying? From the barnyard to the world. Like, that's really the channel, the portal that you've opened up, man.
Right.
And that's kind of what we want.
I never thought of that. That's cool.
Bro, we want to talk about that today because, you know, we're living in a period where it's hard to realize how special the dudes and the women that you're working with and you're rubbing shoulders with are. You know what I mean? Not until they pass away do we really realize, like, yo, like, they were special. And we're right at that age where we're making a lot of impact on the culture. You know what I mean? So this platform right here, I'm hoping we can bring as many people on. But, you know, I feel thankful that even in my immediate circle, the first, you know, most recently used numbers are such amazing creators. You know what I mean? So before we bring it to where you're at now, Patrick Cloud now, you know, all deaf, hair snacks, Protect Your Light, the music. Let's go back to the music.
That's first.
Let's go back to the music.
Yeah.
So what don't people know about Patrick Cloud, the musician?
I think, man, I don't know. I'm trying to integrate that more into just, you know, because when you do a bunch of things, it's like your profile looks like commercials. You know what I mean? It's like, this is this, and then this is this, and this is this. And, you know, I was talking to K-Red, which is another dude we've been rapping with and making music with for a long time. It's all about, like, bringing people in who don't know about something and introducing them, as opposed to marketing to the same people who would have been like at your show anyways. You know, it's like, you know, if somebody listens to all your stuff, yeah, you want to be like, this, here's a new song to that person, but you also want to be like, here's a song to somebody who doesn't know that you do music at all. Right. So my point is, like, I'm trying to, you know, figure out new ways to bring people into the music side, whether it's, you know, different visuals or, like, you know, just putting I'm really adamant about giving artists a platform who are nice enough to, like, send me art. So I've been trying to, like, reutilize their stuff so it has staying power instead of just like, oh, that was cool. So yeah, I think that just in terms of, like, what I want people to know, or what people just don't know, is that that's, like, really the core of everything. Like, you of all people know, like, that's where we started everything. That's, you know, I met this dude when I was 14. What age was sixth grade?
Whatever sixth grade is.
Oh, sixth grade is not 14.
All right, if we're 18, if we're 18 to 12th grade, minus 6, 12.
12-ish.
Yeah.
Damn, really? That sounds, I don't even remember 12-year-old Patrick.
That's
but,
over 10 years, bro.
Damn.
Yeah. 15, 16.
It's almost 20.
And we met creatively. He was just rapping in the corner at a party.
Wait, you just rapping in the corner?
He was rapping in the corner at a party. No audience. In retrospect, that is hilarious. Because it's like, I came up and I was just like, yeah.
Like, I was at the pier or something, you know? Like, I was just at the promenade, like.
Like that. It was like, for sure, some, like, street performer type of stuff. I mean, he knew the people. He knew who invited me there, but it was like sixth grade. Like, we didn't know. Yeah.
Dylan Niven is the, shout out Dylan Niven. I don't know if you'll ever see this, but, you know, to give everybody context, we all went to Milliken Middle School. We all, meaning Scott right here behind the camera, me, Patrick, Cecil, who will eventually probably come on the podcast, and Kyle, who will eventually probably come on. And that kind of created our core friends group. And once we all migrated together to Hamilton, that's when the music became the core part of our lives, right?
Yeah. Wasn't it Hamilton?
Where did we start Adolescence? So we had this group called Adolescence, right?
That was middle school. You guys were already doing music.
Oh, me and Cecil had started Adolescence, right? And then I remember having the conversation like, yo, like, Pat could rap, bro. Like,
that wasn't, no, not yet. That was high school. Because I was 17 when that happened. Because my first rap, for some reason, I said I'm 17.
Do you remember the rap?
No. I remember having it on a little lined piece of paper, and I rapped it for you guys. I think the last line was like something dumb, like fake deep. It was like, my eyes are too blurry to fight. You remember that? You guys were like, he said his eyes are blurry. But it was like
crying or something.
Yeah, it was like about, no, the rap was not about crying.
No, the bar.
Can you imagine? That was my pitch to you guys. All right. Knees is shaky. But yeah, I guess I like. They had their own, like, group together. They rapped and did beats, and I kind of just started. They started sending me beats, so I kind of came. I think G Unit was popular at the time, and I was like, all right, this could be like a G Unit session. Like each person gets, like, you know, like, format wise, and yeah, like we started making music together, and that's kind of where everything started. And then Lonnie started literally a beats club at Hamilton. It was like electronic music club or something, and then everybody started making beats and doing music, and then we went to go over to Cecil's house and make music. So that was like the core of creation, because then that led to us, like, you know, obviously doing music in itself is a creative process, but that led to shooting stuff, and then which was also camera work and directing. And then we, you know, me and Lonnie would stay up hella late to edit everything. So it's like everything kind of had different purposes within that just led up to digital media, you know, because like music is a big part of that, editing's a big part of it, shooting and directing is a big part of it, and for show doing it all bare bones is a big part of it, because you know, we were just like in school. So yeah, that led to, you know, we went to music school and kind of just like I feel like we knew we didn't want to do what we were going to music school for. We wanted to express that creatively somewhere else. Because I was in there for like music business, and then like my minor was like jazz piano. So it's like I didn't want to be a pianist. Like all my friends were like playing on cruise ships after they graduated and stuff, like just living gig to gig, which was cool, but it's like I just wanted to know this knowledge and then kind of do my own thing. So yeah, that's kind of
Musicians Institute as well. Yeah,
I went to Musicians Institute. I took a year off from college because they let you stay enrolled being out 2 semesters. So I went to MI in Hollywood, and I didn't like anybody. I was kind of a douche there. Like I didn't mess with anybody. Like everybody was like, "Yo, you want to jam after school?" I was like, "No." Everybody jammed together, and I didn't. And I was just like, I'm gonna practice my piano and go home. And it was intense there. There was people leaving in straitjackets and stuff like that. Cause
what? Are you being serious?
Yeah, because like it was an international school, and if you think about it, like Asians don't play, and who for sure don't play. No, I'm serious. Transplants don't play, and of the transplants, Asians and Russians don't play, because honestly, Hollywood was down the street for me. You know, it was like, but it's like if you know, were come from a place that was, you know, like hella far away, and you came all the way over, you were paying international school fees, and then you came here and you were from a family that's like, you know, okay, how can I say this not racistly? Just like, don't come home, or if you ain't like a master violinist or piano, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of like the pressure that they were under. So, you know, even at CSUN, you open the piano bench, because the piano benches are also compartments. You would see like toothbrushes, shoes, calendars. Like people was for sure hanging up calendars in there. So that's when I was just like, competitively, this is not something I want, because even if you get that good and you become the first chair in an orchestra, or you know what I mean, you join one of these really prestigious things, there's like a million people waiting for you to just not practice for 2 days, and then you're like 3 years behind, because you know, that's just like a life that I didn't want. I just wanted to get enough skill to do our own thing creatively. So that kind of led to, you know, interning at a radio station and cutting up like alternative rock promo, and then that led to like doing internship in music production at this super white digital media company called Awesomeness TV. But yeah, they just had a little dark room in the back that Russell Simmons bought for a new company called All Def Digital, so I kind of just transitioned into that without even really knowing, but it all started from music.
Nice. You know, I'll never like seeing you now, because being that I spend, you know, my big chunk of my year abroad in Spain, I'm seeing everything from afar. I'm not really up close to see the developments happening. I only get the big developments, you know, and it's like, damn, I just think about how many people. I had this thought, because we grew up together, and I had this thought, like, I imagine that when you have over 100,000 followers, you're in the top 20th percentile most recognizable people in the United States. You know what I mean?
You'd be surprised. That's not a lot at all. If you look at how many people have 1 million followers who are just like, who's that? You know, like, it's so oversaturated, and like, I think that's probably one of the biggest problems with digital media is like, back in the day, like, to become like a celebrity, you had to put in a lot of work where nobody knew where you know what I mean? It was just like, imagine what the Beatles had to do. They had to like find a studio, pay for it, cut the ribbons to get, you know what I mean? Get a record label, put it on radio. But now it's like you pass all that with your phone. You can just do something and put it online. So the biggest problem is that there are actual celebrities like Chris Brown and stuff who are like, have a solid fan base who will pay X amount of money for them. But then it's like, you have this super quick way of getting popular, which is social media, and getting a follower is not like getting a fan, you know what I mean? And people get these like quick fixes, and then they get popular and then start thinking they're a celebrity, but it's like, it's not. Like, there's a study just came out, like the average social media influencer that has 1 million followers makes less than $12,000 a month based on their following alone. Less than $12,000 a year. Sorry, that was about to say. I'm down with that. 11, $12,000 a year based off of their following alone.
That's like McDonald's money right there, man.
I think that's less than that.
It's for sure less. But then on the flip side, you got very, very unknown people making $80K a month just from their YouTube. So it's like it's really just based off of.
What are the numbers of what does YouTube pay out per view?
I don't know. It's not a lot.
Is it even a cent?
Per view?
Yeah, is it way less than a cent?
I'm not sure. It fluctuates because there's like a lot of YouTubers that were hit hard by YouTube changing their payout method, and then like I guess like a lot of them got paid a lot less. But I still hear things to this day that's just like, damn, like you're not, people that aren't even popping like that are getting like a lot of money. So it's really just about being smart with your following, like a lot of people get a quick video and then they're just like, they just get a lot of people going like, oh, who's this guy? Follow. And then they just think like, okay, I'm this guy, I can do this, and this. And people get embarrassed out here. Like we threw a couple of signings for people that was just like, just like, you know what I mean? And they were popping, but it's like it's different.
Nobody really cared.
You can't let yourself get a big head on social media, because it's like they're just people who like press the button to be like, maybe every now and then I'll see what they're doing. It's not like people think like, I got an army, I got 500,000 like crazy people ready to drop $60. It's like,
well, for you personally, because this is one thing that I've always noticed and respected about you, is your humility amidst your success. Like nobody could ever say they saw Patrick being like, oh, I'm Patrick Cloud now. You know what I'm saying? Never. It's never like that. What helps you maintain a level-headed perspective?
Logic. No, really, like people will ignore logic to make themselves seem like the shit for whatever reason. Could be a bunch of reasons, but I think that because everything I said just right now is like super true. Mm-hmm. Like I just know that in certain demos I may be popular, but that's it. Mm-hmm. I'm still working on like a lot of things. Like people will literally get 800K and then on Instagram or Twitter and be like, I'm a household name. It's like, no, hell no. So I think it's really just like really analyzing the situation. And also like, I didn't come into it as talent. A lot of people come into things as talent. So they make videos by themselves, that blows up. And then all these companies are inviting them in and being like, right this way, blah, 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 here's this. So I see how they get big headed, but I started kind of just like base level, like getting Russell vegan drinks, framing his posters, like doing PA work, working the equipment room. Like I was sort of like that, looking at talent, and then it became producing and directing, looking at talent, which you still have to use logic to break down this situation, because it's like you get in situations where it's like, I'm really good friends with this person, but he's not funny enough to be in this scenario, so you kind of have to like, being a director, you just have to do what's best for everything regardless of all that other stuff, and talent doesn't really do that. Like for instance, like if you're directing a scene, 9 times out of 10 talent will only be thinking about themselves in that scene and how their performance is, and then they'll just try to shine and outperform everything, whereas like a good actor or a good talent or whatever this scene is would be like, how do I fit in this scenario? Maybe that's just as small as reacting or like not saying anything. Maybe that's what's best for the scene, as opposed to like what's best for me as talent. I want to take over the scene, when that's just not how it is. So right. I think that mind state kind of keeps me and people, really just like a lot of people that are in positions similar to me, like that, because you're not really thinking like a talent, you're thinking like a big picture for the whole project.
Right.
Do you think that has a lot to do with how you've been able to develop a really strong following?
Maybe. Yeah, I would think so. Just because I think that doing that and it gives you a level of like approachability that I don't think people who say like openly like, I'm the shit, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, I'm better than you. Because it's like a lot of people who are popular kind of it's weird, they kind of like look down on their fans, in a weird way. And then every now and then it's like fan appreciation, I love you guys, but like it's like most of the time it's just like y'all broke, you know, it's really the same narratives. Like, I got bitches, I got, or, you know, Meg Thee Stallion, I got niggas. Like, that's a big wave of that. You know, city girls is up. Or like, I got money, you know, I got this, I got that. And most of your followers are like, yeah, I wish I had that, you know. It's never like, yeah, me too, I got an Aston Martin also. It's never like, you know, eye to eye. It's always like looking down. And the cool thing about comedy is that comedy is always punching up. You think of it as punching up. Like, you look at any stand-up comedian, they're rarely like talking to the audience like they're better than the audience, unless that's their whole thing, like Anthony Jeselnik or something. Like, I'm a douchebag. But like a lot of the times it's always like, I'm fat, I'm going through this, you know, I'm ugly, I'm going through this, you know, like I'm having problems with my girl. And it's relatable because the audience is either laughing at them or relating to them. It's never like, this guy's just over here stunting on us, you know. I think that the fans, they appreciate that. They appreciate not being talked to like a certain way, even if they expect you to. Just because like, it's funny, like people's expectation towards you. I remember even in high school, because in high school we had sort of like a bench that we always sat at. I guess we were popular. We're pretty popular, right? You were way more popular than us.
No.
Right?
No.
Me? I wasn't the most popular in the group though, because I was kind of a douche.
We were all pretty known. Like, we just.
But Lonnie knew everybody though. Like, Lonnie knew everybody.
Lonnie was more sociable.
There it is.
Yeah.
So we got this in high school and middle school. Even though we weren't like mean to anybody, we had people looked at us a certain way. We had sort of like an image that was kind of like, So when I would do. A lot of people don't know this. I was in musical theater in middle school, and I transferred out in 8th grade and did stage crafts. Now, stage crew. Sorry. Now in musical theater, I was filled with like all the people who were like, I'm an actor, I'm a dancer, blah blah blah, and they were just mean to everybody. So stage crew had to look at that throughout the whole year. So when I went to stage crew, I sort of found out like just really everybody's honest opinion about me and all the people from last thing. And I remember there was this dude named Hector, because I was cool with all the Mexicans that be fighting, because I didn't. It's like protection. It was. They were dope. And I remember this dude named Hector. I was walking with him and we were like joking around. And he was just like, "Man, I thought y'all would be different." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was just like, "Yeah, I don't know. I just like you, Lonnie and Cecil. Like, I just thought you'd be different." And I was like, "Oh," but like that stuck with me as I grew up, because that was just like. We saw you as this, but when we met you, you still treated me like this. Yeah.
Damn. It's crazy how those little moments can stick with you, you know? Like, he probably never will remember that ever.
He probably doesn't remember me. It's like, I hung out with you.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. So, with you developing your following, how much of that was you intentionally trying to develop it, and how much of it seemed to just snowball and be organic?
I honestly don't know, because at first it was 100% intentional, because I always saw myself behind the camera unless it was like music related. Like, I just like the idea of directing. And plus, being a social media influencer either never appeared to me as a thing or was ever an interest. But when I was sort of like a PA running around doing everything at All Def, there were two influencers. I call them my social media parents. It was King Kieran and Simone Shepherd. And they were big at the time, but they weren't as big as they are now. They were like 800,000, 900,000 followers. But actually, I take that back. Simone Shepherd's been popular, but I think King Kieran hadn't really popped yet. They were shooting videos all around the office, and they would either have me shoot them for them or act in them, just because you kind of need bodies when you're shooting on the fly like that. So they would shoot them. I'd watch them edit them, and then I'd be at home and I'd see them go up and how crazy they did, and I'd be like, "Oh, that's pretty easy. I was there for that." But then I started processing their brand deals, like their like invoices, and I was like, "Y'all are making this much from a 6-second video like Vine?" So that's what I saw it as lucrative. So I saw it as it made sense to be in this environment and start building this stuff because if anything happened where it came a time to jump in something and I wasn't good or I didn't know anything, like it would just make more sense to be like, oh yeah, I have a page too. Right. So I just kind of started slowly building, and my videos were so whack. They were horrible. But do y'all remember in Instagram when you got less than 10 or 11 likes, you saw everybody who liked everything? It wasn't a number yet. Yeah. Like all my first skits were like that. They didn't turn into a number, but you saw everybody who liked it. But they would be like, it would be like Kieran and like Kevin on stage. Like it would be people who were like already popular online, but they would be like my only 10 people. So it was like a very interesting thing where I was like, I had eyes, but I didn't have like eyes. You know, I had like influencers watching me, but nobody. And then, you know, I try to turn in skits to All Def, and they'd be like, I'm good.
For real?
Yeah.
That's how they treated you?
I mean, for my first skits, yeah. Because I mean, at the time, I was like, well, fuck y'all, I'll do it myself. But I look back, and I'm like, yeah, it didn't belong on any channel. But yeah, it was just really about like growing and figuring it out over here to the point where either people in the office or fans of the channel were like, put him in more stuff. Mm-hmm. So I kind of waited for that to become organic, and then just throughout my own page, I was asked to be in more stuff. And there was like a couple of projects that were sort of like a catalyst for me becoming like a regular on the channel, but it was really just through being really like consistent and just doing it over here for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it kind of just like, it was very intentional. But then I remember there was an interaction I had in Target. This was probably like maybe like one of the first times I ever got recognized in public, but it was an interaction in Target. This girl came up to me, and she basically said her sister was sick, and I didn't ask how sick or if it was terminal or anything, but she said her sister was sick, and every day she would climb into her hospital bed and they'd pull up my page to see if I posted something new. So that's when it kind of became like, because before than that, you know, I was checking like numbers, like, you know, like, oh, are these numbers bigger? That was probably like the first time that the numbers became like people, you know what I mean? Because before you start making videos and you're not really having any face-to-face interaction, it's just like, oh, I got these amount of views, these amount of comments, cool. But that's when it kind of became like, oh, people are watching this, and it was like,
for a reason.
Yeah, and that's when I kind of just stopped intentionally doing it. I mean, obviously, you pull out a camera, it's intentional. It's like, so I don't. Obviously, everything is intentional, but that's the first time it was just like, okay, I'll probably always be releasing some type of free content. Just because, like, at the time I was just like, even if it was just for these two people, now I have to like keep making stuff. So now I just know kind of like, no matter what I do that's like costs money, I'll be doing something online for free, because you really never know how what that kind of stuff is doing for people really and that's not even just funny stuff helps, but it's just like, yeah, people just, you know, be having some pretty shitty days sometimes, and they kind of just, that little laugh might just be like, oh, okay, maybe I'll
everything. Yeah,
that might just change their mood around and be like, okay, maybe I'll go outside, and then like it kind of snowballs.
It's interesting. I don't see your fans, I guess, connect to anyone else at ADD the way that I've seen them connect to you. Is where there's like they do your art. You know, a lot of people sketch you, or people like writing your mom or sending your mom gifts and stuff like that. Like, that's awesome. Yeah. What do you think creates that connection?
It's probably a lot of things. Maybe a lot of things that I'm not aware of, but I want to say that like I feel like I relate to people who aren't used to relating to a lot of people, in terms of like, I have a big voice for, like, I talk about gaming a lot, even if it's a very unpopular game that'll get me made fun of right there on the spot, you know, which has happened a lot. Just things like, you know, gaming, mental health, just, you know, like the things that I joke about, being awkward. It's I feel like it connects to. It definitely connects to creative people, and I think that's why I have like a lot of people drawing me, because to be honest, I'm probably just a lot more fun to draw than to hear. You just gonna like
roast me remote.
Because like and even just aesthetically, like if I say I like Link and you're a artist who likes video games, it's just more to work with, and it might be like I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Do you think in a practical sense it's just the consistency?
No, I mean, it's everybody I'm around is consistent. That's why it's not even like a thing like I connect better because of anything specific, because these guys all connect to their fans in a very specific way as well, and they're all kind of like killing it on social media, so they're definitely connecting. I think that just maybe the type of people who follow me and what they do hobby-wise is very different. I think that I'm a big person on imagination, so if somebody else is big on imagination, they're more likely to create some content to,
So you're an example of like being yourself is a benefit.
That's kind of like my whole thing, and I get like a lot of messages that say that helps, which makes me more comfortable with it, you know. That's kind of like what helped me be myself, is like watching people be themselves. Like, we were huge fans of Pharrell. Who's more themselves than Pharrell? Pharrell was around gangsta niggas like Snoop Dogg and Busta Rhymes, looking like a damn ice cream cone with like pink shoes. It's like, you that's crazy that we were watching that, you know? It was like a black dude with pink shoes, skateboarding. And it's just like, you know, I think that's why Lil Wayne got so popular. Like, there's a lot of people who got popular being themselves, and then it's like, if you're young, maybe you're them first. And then you're yourself, because we were walking around with vaped out and stuff.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that maybe that's it, you know.
But where's that for you? I mean, I know the examples of seeing other people can inspire us, but what encouraged you? I mean, because it's something that you've had for a long time, you know, your individual quirkiness, you know. What has given you the courage to like shine that bright, you know?
I don't know, man. People are really annoying. So like, if you use like false things to attract people, they're gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
gonna show up.
Yeah, like I know people who project an image of wealth and being rich, right? So, which is dope. Everybody wants that. But the type of people that they attracted to their life, they just smell the, you know, the fakeness. You know what I mean? That's what's wrong with a lot of social media trends, and people blow up and then they try to switch and be like, by the way, I do this, and they're like, no, do that first thing. Because if I don't like croquet, and I'm like, damn, there's a huge ass wave on croquet right here, I'm black, let me jump in on this, and I do a croquet video, and I'm like, I'm croqueted out, and I get a crazy amount of fans. I can't be mad if everybody coming up to me trying to talk to me about croquet, you know? So it's like, I think that's the same with just any type of energy that you put out. So if you're not worried about that kind of stuff, and it's like, I don't believe that nobody doesn't care. You know how it's like really important for you to be on social media, like, I don't give a damn what anybody thinks. It's like most likely that person is like cares a lot. Like, for real. But I think it's just, you know, conditioning and just understanding people too. Because I think that you could it's a lot easier to deal with hate if you understand why they're hating on you, and then it's just like, oh, that has nothing to do with me. So I don't really know, to answer your question, I don't really know where that like it came from, but I do know that like even in high school, like I never really been into like shoes the way everybody else was. So like, I guess I mean, I didn't really ever have like the latest Jordans or anything, but I didn't really care, so I was never really made fun of for it. And then like, I don't know what else, sports, just really everything that people are into, I just kind of wasn't interested in it. Maybe it's not a care thing, maybe it's an interest thing. Like, I just had no interest in it. So, and even still, so I guess I don't really know where it came from,
Right.
but I've always been I always admired people who were like 100% themselves no matter what. Like even like not even just like day to day, like room to room. You could literally go into another room full of people who will kind of like sort of like push your personality down in a certain way. I mean, it still happens to me this day, but I'm just way more aware of it. So I think it's I don't know where it's from, to be honest.
Just a part of who you are. Like we all have essences, you know, and it's just like that.
Yeah.
Your Protect Your Light campaign, do you find some significance in that? Are they like linked as far as like being yourself?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Protect Your Light was started from somebody who was kind of aware at how toxic the environment of comedy period, but social media, being on the internet, just the internet's a very toxic place. So somebody just noticed that in the midst of that, I sort of like kept who I was. I don't know if they used the word light. They might have. But yeah, I think it was just about being somebody calling that out. And then me just really, really exploring what that is. And then just really understanding that that's a huge thing in everybody's life, even if, because some people just don't have a light, and I think that those are the people that are trying to put out others. Because oh man, there's a story. This girl told me this story about something that happened to her in school. She said that she had a group of two best friends, and they were cool. They weren't like the popular kids in school, but they were just like, you know, they were chilling. She had like a couple guys that liked her or whatever. Her best friends went up to the popular kids in the school, told them that she was talking shit about them. They all came over and just like publicly humiliated her. I said that like she got beat up. She all over there and gave her a talking to. But yeah, they walked over and like completely like humiliated that girl. And I guess like she never got over it. So years later, she asked her old best friends, like, why'd you do that? And they literally said, because we thought you were too confident. And that was just on some stuff that just kind of made me understand people, because it was just like, yo, we saw something in you that either was...
Made them feel a way about themselves.
They made them feel a way about themselves. And they're like, I'd probably feel better about myself if I just stomped this out. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that those... I said that some people just don't have a light. I think that some people just have a very dimmed or like, you know, given up on light. But I just think that people hunt that kind of stuff out. So when someone still has that in the midst of like a really toxic environment, it really shows, and then you're hunted even more. So I just kind of saw a lot of legs to that message, and then the inboxes that I got, the messages that I got were just like immediate. So that's how I really knew that it connected to certain people. And then once it got to the point where it was like, this message was the what I needed for life and death. That's when it became like something a lot more serious. And then I even though I can't relate directly to a lot of these things that are people, I hear them. Yeah. So it makes it a thing. And then it's like, okay, now I can actually do something for these people, especially in the future. You know what I mean? Like the plans that I have for Protect Your Light are very big. It's just like, you know, you kind of just have to, I'm still in the getting it off the ground stage, but I think that it's just like it's really important to me. I actually wrote a lot of the concept while making a campfire, which is like why a campfire is kind of like my thing. In Joshua Tree, it was actually, I was on drugs. That doesn't take away the epiphany though. Because I've never made a campfire without tools and stuff. Like it's usually just like man-made stuff. Like it's done. But for once, I was just like, man, how did they do it back when? You know, like I still used a lighter. I didn't like rub sticks together. I'm not saying that, but it's just like we weren't using like gas or nothing. It was just like getting dry, like collecting dry stuff, dry brush or whatever, and like logs, and just like I tried to make that campfire for like, it felt like an hour and a half, and then like I kept giving up, and then Javier actually sent me the first sketches for the logo, which was a campfire. So I was like, all right, let me try it again, and I just like kept like adding, and it would catch, and then it would die, it would catch, it would die, and then there was this one moment where it really seemed like it would catch, and then it was dying, and I was like, well, I tried. Like, you know what I mean? It was just like literally like that. I tried, like almost. I remember when it almost was, and then it was dead. And then like for some reason I was just like, man, no, I have to, and I just like kept adding, and then like it literally got to the point where I was like Googling like, how the fuck do you start a fire? And then I just like literally looked up, and it was like going, like crazy going. And even though that was like, yeah, nigga, you built a fire, like my personal that's why it's hard to put in words, but my personal experience was just like, this is crazy, because like I remember when it would never happen, I remember when it would almost happen, I remember giving up, and then now it's just like this thing that I couldn't even put out if it would be more effort to put it out than anything. And that was cool for me, because I feel like I could literally apply that to anything. And yeah, I think that it's a weird way to try to get other people to, you know, connect to it. So I bring it up only in origin story, never in like lesson form, because like lesson form is like, nigga, you built a fire.
No, I get it, man. It's symbolic.
But yeah.
Fire is such a big symbol, like just all through our humanity. But you know, something I want to know from your experience, having such attention directed at you on a daily basis. How do you protect your light against the trolls and all of the things that come with the internet?
You know what's funny? Like, I know it's interesting with me, because one of the most popular things that I've put out is a show called Roast Me that's insults. So ever since that took off, people felt like they could connect to me by roasting. So I got a lot of that hate masked. Like I got a lot of love masked as hate. So people would, you know, flood my comments with, you built like blah blah blah, you suck, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like when you're always told to like not let it bother you, but then when it did bother me and I said something back, it'd be like, oh man, I was just roasting, I'm a huge fan, you know what I mean? And it's just like, what that's like, that unplugs everything. Like you can't go off on somebody and then be like, man, I actually like you, and you're like it's just, you just feel dumb. So it's like between that and then just kind of like understanding, and then also like it's everywhere, you know what I mean? Like it'd be different if it was like, you suck in your comments, and then you go to like Travis Scott and it was just like nothing but like, you're amazing. But it's like that same guy will go to the next person and be like, you're trash, you know what I mean? If you understand that people just troll either for a response or just to throw something negative in the pot, you know what I mean? Like it literally doesn't matter. And the crazier the video gets, and then you see the reaction, that's, you know, you would understand why somebody would go to Drake's page and be like, you suck. It's like, oh yeah, he's hating on him, but like
Loki loves him though.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But then when you see like a video of like a girl like, I was just adopted and this is the happiest day of my life, and then you go under and be like, shut up, B word. It's just like, okay, like there are trolls for everything. That's when you really learn like it doesn't matter what the context is. It doesn't matter if it's like, oh, he's Drake, I'm just gonna hate, or it's this. It's just like, if there's a video, there will be somebody to discredit it. And I think that you can even switch that up, and those people still walk around amongst us, and I feel like that person can be in your physical life too, just to throw something weird, you know what I mean? We get to analyze it on the internet, but like data, but like, you know, there could be a homeboy, a homegirl, a girlfriend, somebody in your family that's just like, I don't know about that, just plant a little seed about you know, I don't know if you could do that. Anyways, and you're just like,
right.
I think one of the coolest things in psychology that I learned recently was that it's not what's originally said, that does any of the damage. That's just the first. That's the origin of the damage, but the damage compiles when that person starts thinking about it. So like,
Make water the seed.
exactly. So like, think about like manipulation. If you're just bullying somebody and you're just saying like every day, you're ugly, you're fat, you're worthless, you're not good at this. That first impact would be like, hey man, what the hell? But it's not when you start thinking like, damn, I'm not that good. That's when the real damage starts building up. And I kind of I learned that from no, everyone uses it like that. People don't really use that the positive way. I remember I was on OG Mako's page or something. I don't know if you guys know OG Mako or what he's been through recently, but he's been dealing with like a flesh-eating disease or something like that. And he posted like a progress of it. And I went to his comments, and it was like, there's like people saying crazy positive stuff like, you fucking warrior, you know, blah, 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 blah. Them thinking about that is where that compliment, even if that person who says that compliment, whatever it is, doesn't believe it 100%, if they just say it and then that kind of like builds up within them, then that might just, the next day they'll be like, man, I could do this, I'm a fucking warrior. So
that's deep. That's like, that's how people get spun. That's how batteries get put in people's backs. It's also how you pep somebody up, pep talk. It's like, that's pretty deep.
You only hear the negative ways though.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Like, we do it to ourselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
We do it to ourselves. Like, really, nobody doesn't have any ultimate power to change your psychology until you accept it and start, you know, evaluating and thinking based on this truth. Like, okay, this is true, therefore this must be true. This must be true. This must be true. But if you never accept, if you never open the door for that first thing, is that what protecting your light is?
It is. I just remembered what the word was. The girl who I talked to about this, she didn't use the word light. She used the word truth. It was protecting your truth. And what's interesting about that is we don't really, when we make something or create like a thought or whatever, we don't come to our own opinion on it. Well, a lot of times we just make it and we'll share it and then be like, what do you guys think? And then that's the opinion we form. You know what I mean? We post a video and we don't really have an opinion on it and everybody says, this sucks. And be like, man, that video sucked. Or like you post something and you don't have an opinion on it, everybody's like, GOAT, greatest of all time. You'd be like, I am the shit now. But it's like, what's crazy is that if we just sat and like made our own opinion, our own truth, it's so much easier to protect. Like, you could make a song and be like, this song's okay, and then if you believe that truth and then drop it and everybody's like, this is the greatest song of all time, you could even brush that off and be like, the song was okay. Even positive enforcement can be bad. That's why people get big-headed. They drop one thing, everybody's like, GOAT, greatest of all time, you're a genius, and then people start listening to that. But I think that it's about just becoming creating your own opinion about something, because on the flip side, if you say this is really good and then you just get a whole bunch of trolls that say this is trash, you'd be like, no, it's not. As opposed to letting them dictate how you feel and be like, damn, this must be trash. It's really just like about having a truth and like protecting it. And I think that's the easiest way to maneuver through the internet, because you just need to have an opinion and not let good or bad affect it. Because it's like the word genius. Like, people throw that word around all the time, and it's like people will easily believe it. You know, they'll be like, well, I'm a genius. But if you really care, I have like a little test. It's like, for me, if somebody calls me a genius, it's like, the reason it's so easy to be like, oh, thanks for the compliment, but I have a lot of work to do. Right. I have my own scale of what a genius is. So it's like, if I were to be like, all right, I'm gonna put everybody who I think is a genius. All right, we got like Erykah Badu, Tom York, Debussy, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like this crazy Herbie Hancock, Roy Ayers. It's like, if I were to line all of them up and then put myself there, like, hey, Patrick Cloud, who's the weakest in the room? It's like, get me the fuck out of here. What am I doing? I don't want to be in that room. So it's like, that's what people need to do. You know what I mean? It's like, are you whatever said about you on your own scale? You know what I mean? If somebody says you're trash, who do you think is trash? Blah, 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 blah. Place yourself in there. Damn. I'm pretty tight. So it's like, if you kind of have your own scale and your own truth, everything that comes at it, you can analyze instead of just absorbing and just being like, this is part of the opinion.
I never realized how level-headed you were, bro. Like that is some for real. Like just break it down, like reality testing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you think it through, and then you allow your thought process to inform your reality, and not the other way around. You know, other people's thought processes. And damn, dude.
That's why therapists don't argue with anybody. You ever notice that? People who study psychology or psychologists, it's just like if somebody comes up to you and it's just like, "What up, you bitch, you stupid bitch?" Like, if you're just like some wild card nigga, you probably be like, "Well, fuck you then, bitch." Like, blah, blah. But it's like people who understand, like, "Oh man, this guy's probably going through some quite crazy stuff," or like, "This dude is doing this because he was this," or "This girl's doing this because of this XYZ." It's kind of like once you understand, it's just like, if I say something, I'm kind of an asshole because I'm kind of like, I get it. He doesn't get it. So, and you know, obviously, you know, you still got pride and stuff. So every now and then you got to turn up. But but for the most part, it's just like, oh, you're doing this because of this. You're doing this. I get it. So it's just like, you almost feel like stupid for, you know, letting yourself be affected by some of that stuff. Exactly. Yeah. It's just really like just thinking about everything. People just don't think about anything. That's really it.
Yeah.
Right.
For real, man. Like, our opinions are like, most of them are adopted, you know? We just take them on because they're like out there and they're easy. And people kind of will, at times, kind of ridicule you if you don't take the popular stance on things, you know? Like,
people are still getting married. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
I don't know.
Bro, people are still getting legally attached to each other despite decades of data.
Okay. To piggyback off that, because I wanted to ask you about this. Because you come from a two-parent household,
Right.
Like, what do you think that how has that impacted your life coming from your family, the type of family that you do?
Man, a lot. I don't know, you know, I don't know, like...
Shout out to Candy, Mama Candy.
Mama Candy and Papa Cloud. I don't know the effects of divorce. I know the effects of almost. Are you mainly talking about, like, the marriage part of it? Or?
Well, I use that as a segue because, you know, you, in turns, benefited from a marriage structure.
Yeah.
You know...
Yeah, I benefit from a couple that raised us. You know what I mean?
Not necessarily the legal marriage. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why. And the only reason I said that is because you said that people will get like judged into doing stuff, and it's like I remember I was talking to this girl who said that. Females in her family were always doing the thing like, when you having some kids, you know, like that whole thing. And then obviously you hear that from people all the time. Right. But once I started hearing it a lot from females, I started asking them like, what age did your mom have you? And then they would tell me, and then I'd be like, around what age did they start saying when you gonna have some kids? And all of them said it was around the same time. Right. So then I was like, damn, is this a personal thing? Like, are maternal figures and grandmas and aunts pressuring their kids because, like, if they reached their point in their life where they were at, where they had kids, it's like, oh, you think you better than me? You know what I mean? Is it kind of like that? Is it like is it
the way of living your life? How dare you not have that responsibility?
How you? I went through all I went through all that, and it's like. It really is kind of like that, and it's like it is like a very how dare you type of thing, you know, for sons too. It'll be like that,
yes.
And I think it's like that for kids, marriage. That's why it's like people have like a formula of their life. And I think that formula comes from all the people before them. They're just like, this is when you get married, you have kids, blah 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 blah, regardless of if that's how they feel. So. Traditions kind of like weigh us down so much. Like the whole reason it's open, people don't really think anymore. People don't really think like, is it best for me to have a kid right now? Because I'm gonna have this kid for the rest of my life. This is just somebody who's like, have a kid, and then you have a kid, and they're like, yeah, good. Like, what? What? this is my life. And then it's like, when you think about that for marriage is something that obviously, like, having a kid is like usually can lead to something beautiful. Marriage too, but like statistically, marriage is so stupid. We have so much data. It's like, okay, 60-70% divorce rate. I know couples that literally can't afford to get a divorce. So they're just together, just like, man, we don't love each other anymore, but we broke. Or just like, you know, I don't know them personally, but I know of a couple who still lives together because of finances, but have been divorced for like 2 years.
Just roommates.
Yeah. And it's just like, when you think about the downside to it, it's just like why? And it's funny. I got all this thinking from watching Master Chef. Master Chef is a documentary on Netflix that follows all the world-renowned chefs in their own environment. There's this dude overseas. He's in Europe. He's one of the top chefs in the world. Doesn't use a kitchen or anything. He cooks it. He digs a hole and like digs all his stuff. But the part that stuck out to me was it went into his family life, and he had a kid, and he had a girl, like a mate, and he said, me and my girlfriend or wife, they might have been married, live down the street from each other. Space has always been a thing for me. I always wanted my own space, and it's just like, I've never been able to make that work. So we live in 2 different houses. People judge us and stuff like that, but it's like, I'm not doing this to cheat. I'm not. We're at each other's spots all the time. We raise our son. We just told him what the deal was. He comes to each place. It's very customized, and that's when I realized, like, you can and should customize your life. If you can't make this work, and you just settle and just fit into this mold because that's what everybody else is doing, you're either gonna get bitter or you're gonna just start doing other stuff. I don't know if you're not happy, you're just gonna veer eventually. Right. And it's like, you don't even have to be in an unhappy situation. There's just the possibility that 2 people grow apart.
Interesting.
That just happens. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're together for like 70 years.
Right.
I wasn't the same person I was like 6 years ago. So it's like, you know what I mean? And that's why I think that, like, customizing your life is so important. And once I realized that it's just a conversation and a consequence, or a conversation and exactly how you want. It's not a compromise. If you're just like, yo, I want the XYZ, and they're just like, I don't, then that probably would have happened further down the line and been much worse. But if you kind of just talk about that and explain where you're coming from, you end up in a situation that's perfect for most likely both of you. They just didn't want to say that because they're like, oh, you could do that? I thought I had to get married and, you know, work the steel mill or whatever. Work the old rubber factory. But yeah, I think it's really just about, like, thinking about it and thinking about, like, you know, is tradition even helping with what I want?
Yeah. Customize your life. Like, that is what I'm on right now, bro. Customize your life. Like, I look at you, bro, you wearing cloud shorts right now. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you literally had an idea and you're wearing it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think about the fact that one day I'm going to get with an architect, design my own house, build that shit, and then live in it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to think of my next campaign for my music and then do it. You know, I'm going to go live in Spain, like, and do it. And we have all this independence, but I want to, you know, kind of give some balance to this context. What are the advantages or disadvantages of having so much independence now? Are there any things that you miss about being part of a big structure? Or are there things that, like, you like, nah, this is perfect, I like it this way?
This is perfect, but perfect is a strong word because it's not perfect. But I just think for what I ultimately wanted, it was time. And, you know, the last year, you know, even, it's crazy because, like, when the universe is working, there are bumps that you don't agree with or are tough, but it's like, when you really look at it, it's like, okay, this had to happen. You know what I mean? Like, this couldn't have been just a flat journey because that doesn't exist. So I think that, you know, a lot of things sort of happened that led us to this. A year ago, when a lot of the all deaf squad left, we thought it was all over. You know what I mean? We were told that we might not have jobs the next week. So there was like a week where we were sort of like scared, and it was a good scared. We even recognized it right away as a good scared because we were just like ignited creatively again. Whereas when you're comfortable, we were sort of like we were doing the motions and making stuff, but at the same time we were never like back against the wall. So the reason why a lot of the squad left is because like someone like Kev was crazy popular at the time. So it's like you tell a dude who's has options that it might be over, and they got kids and families and stuff like that. He's he set up for the rest of his tour. He set up merch, blah 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 blah. So that a week later, when we were told no, we're good, some people were already like, okay, even if you kept me, I couldn't be here that much because of the other stuff. So some of us couldn't make things happen that fast. Right. But even for people like me and Doughboy and stuff, we're like, okay, it's time to finally get on this merch. We've been slacking with it. We need to start really thinking about all this other stuff. And then we were good. So then we even though that we got that first igniting, we settled down again, right? And then like outside forces like Nipsey dying and Tyler Perry pushing ownership. There's just this huge wave of like own your own stuff was just like all in my ear. And then this whole past year I was kind of just like I was very hesitant to give shows. We didn't have that many shows on All Deaf. All the shows were suggested by executives because I was just like, what if this takes off again and I'm just kind of like behind, yeah,
but it's theirs.
Because Dad Jokes and Roast Me, although it took off and I'm very grateful for it, it's like there was a lot that I wasn't included on, because I was just sort of signed to them. I didn't own anything. Right. That's why people are saying like MTV took Roast Me, Patrick do something. It's like even if I went through all the legal stuff, I could only prove that now you give something to All Deaf, So I think that the first shakeup, the whole ownership push, all the BS that happened behind the scenes that led to All Deaf closing, which wasn't in my control, and then it was all just like very formulaic. You know what I mean? I see that it's happening for a reason, and the fact that I've been thinking about this whole time is very big too. Right. So now it's just like, the comfortability and the assurance of staying afloat is gone, but owning everything and being ignited creatively and sort of just putting more time into everything, it just feels a lot better. And then like once that rough stage ends and it's smooth coasting like it was a couple months ago when I had a job anyway, then it's like, okay, it's the same comfortability, but the ownership is all there. I don't feel a certain way about it.
Now you own the structure and the channels of distribution. You're overseeing everything. Yeah, and like I'm so excited about being part of this era right now. Because I feel like we've been properly prepared in a lot of ways through the last 10, 12 years pursuing music.
Same.
At somewhere else. I don't know if we properly mentioned this, but somewhere else, me, you, Cecil, Jono, the band version with Chris Blanket of the Internet, Elvis Keane of Fiddler, J-Fit, I think he's playing with a popular church band right now, Nice. Like, we come from going through that label situation and really being so seduced by like just being in the studio, just being at the offices, will seduce you into signing that paper so you can stay there. You know what I mean? Not understanding that Roast Me, let's say Roast Me and Dad Jokes alone, you probably paid or helped pay for the staff for everybody, you know what I mean, off of the ideas that you brought to the table.
That's why I didn't want to leave until the doors closed.
Right.
Because
it's your money in a lot of ways. Like there's a bigger percentage that you're due. But just because of the structure of the...
Oh, wait, what?
There's probably a bigger percentage of the funds that were generated by Dad Jokes and Roast Me that if you had owned it, you would have cut yourself a bigger deal. Obviously.
Oh, yeah, so, for sure.
I'm saying your money that came from your intellectual property, has gone to fund everybody else's stuff, keep the whole thing afloat. Yeah. It don't cost that much to keep you afloat as an individual. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited to see this transition, like... We got a lot of momentum going, and this customization that you're talking about, customizing your life, like we could do anything, bro. Like we could really, get together and be like, all right, we're gonna go. I don't know. Patreon is another thing that is like very popular right now. That is funding creatives' lives in an alternative way. Like these are now business models. You know what I'm saying? YouTuber, is that what it's called? Like if you were my taxes, YouTuber?
I don't know what it's called.
YouTuber, because like I'm sure there are people who don't have no W-2s because they just do YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting no tax return.
YouTube does they give you W-2s now, yeah.
Oh wow.
That's part of the Google AdSense. Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting. It's really it's a very complex business, but if you twist it right, like I know people making sickening amounts of money off of YouTube and Patreon. Like Patreon is getting, I think like I want to say like the top. If you look up the top creators in Patreon, I want to say like the first number one last time I checked was like a science podcast that was making like $120
a month,
something like that, something dumb. Don't quote me, but it was like this was like number one also. But it's like if you. It's all about locking in your fan base. People think that you need a Michael Jackson fan base. People in Antarctica talking about where's Patrick Cloud at. Like it's not about that. It's about like I think maybe you said that something like fan bases don't have to be horizontal. They just need to be vertical. You like no, you didn't say that. You definitely didn't say that.
Definitely didn't.
But it's like literally like if your fan base are like 25 to 35-year-old Indian people in India. I said in India, so you didn't think I meant the racial term. Yeah, like that's your market, and if you kill it in that area, I just met with these people who were like doing YouTube in Indonesia and like Thailand, and they are getting crazy amounts of traction. But it's like you would never notice it because it's just a whole different thing, Yeah,
bro. That's how many people there. That's like the amount of digital real estate there is, you know what I mean? There's so much room for people to keep building, and we're trying to build in these small congested cities. Like everybody's trying to get a New York thing, you know what I'm saying? Like I want something in New York. I want something in New York, but it's like, go to New Jersey, go to Connecticut, you know what I'm saying? Build something, and you can create some traffic. You can create a lot of traffic. It's wild.
It's the best. It's the best time to create. And it's funny, like even mentioning somewhere else. Sometimes I think like seeing everything a little bit closer. I don't even know if I could have handled any of that stuff at an age before now. You know what I mean? Like 20 to 25, like I don't know how these kids are going through these businesses at these young ages, because like the graveyard compared to you see a Lil Pump that's 17 years old that's like, man, how do you do that? But the graveyard of people behind him that's just like 17, 18-year-olds in that same position that just got screwed by contracts or like it is crazy. So it's like working for yourself and doing all those things in different channels is for sure the move, because that would have ate me alive. I already know. I already know it.
It's just crazy how it's just time, bro. Like the time and the way that things come full circle. The people that we met at that time. The connections, it just all plays itself out over time. You don't really know why this shit's happening until it's like 5 years later, and you look back and you're like, damn, I needed to be right there. We need for that to fail. Because bro, we thought we was about to be I don't know who we thought we was about to be at somewhere else. World tour. We had won this Battle of the Bands in Dublin.
Oh right, I forgot. They did say it was gonna be like a world tour.
So the thing that I was talking about, where we were part of the Battle of the Bands, I don't know if you watched the episode with Olympia. We talked about a competition, a school-wide competition, and we had to create a company that was going to throw shows to find a band. So just so happens that we were part of that band. We end up competing against schools all around the city. We win, and then we compete against schools from all around the world in Dublin, and we win that. So just imagine, you 18, you fresh out of high school, you just traveled abroad, you buzzing, and you're getting to this point where the romanticism, you're so seduced by it. You know what I mean? We would have signed anything, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
We would have signed anything.
I already know. We won too early. way too early. And I think the interesting alternate reality is like, what would Hungry somewhere else have done, as opposed to like, oh well, shit, like we just won a world tour. It's good. Let's sit back in the studio and wait for Jimmy Iovine to pull up. He should be knocking any minute. Like, it was just a really dumb, non-go-getter attitude that we adapted. Wow.
So, yeah, bro. So, I mean, we've covered a lot of things. But you dropped some jewels, man.
Yes.
Definitely appreciate the bit about, just understanding that your own thinking is what creates that reality, that dims your light. Protect your light is really an internal commandment. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I think everything is internal. Because, like, you ever misunderstood something that bothered you?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not even what they meant. And they just went about their day, and you were just like, and you just fester, and you're like,
yeah, man.
That's all it is.
That's deep, man. I'm so proud to see this coming to fruition, everything you're doing, bro, because
thanks, man.
Truth be told, when you found me in that corner, my light was dim, bro. And you see how everybody says I'm so sociable now. That's thanks to your influence, bro. Real
that
talk.
Was a great ending. Damn. That was poetic.
For real. It took that understanding how to be yourself. I had to see it. Example, I had to be close to it. I had to study it. Not like on no creepy shit, but just like, that you could just really be yourself. You could do that. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to front. You don't have to pose. You don't have to put on these things. You could do that. That was a very important example, because you got to remember, 6th grade, I had just transferred to Milligan. I didn't know nobody.
Oh, that's right.
I didn't know anybody. Dylan was the only person I knew. Soon after, you, Kyle, Cecil. But, that was a turning point in who I was, So I just want to thank you for your gift, bro.
Thank you. That's
of course.
That was probably the best thing said on this podcast.
No, me and the bro go back. We go back, But you gotta be vocal about these things, And I want everybody else to know, because they agree, Yeah, man. So
I can't top that, bro.
Yeah, man. So you got any more questions for the bro?
No.
There's a lot more that can be said, man, but we gonna make them wait for it. We gonna make them return and come back. So,
but thank you for coming on. We appreciate your
appreciate
presence,
you, man.
Absolutely,
this was cool. I like this podcast,
yeah, bro. We gonna bring you back. Maybe bring Cecil and John on do a somewhere else episode. Okay. Recall, recap. Nice. Bring Elvis. You feel me? Chris Blanket. We could do it.
Hey, that's what's up. I'm down.
But yeah, man, hope you guys enjoyed. Tune in next time, another Cognition. Check out Pat. Where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube or Instagram, both Patrick Cloud. You can check out protectyourlight.com and Hair Snacks.
Yeah. Hair Snacks. You feel me? And mango. You feel me?
Sell it.
Sell it. You said that hard half sniff. Yeah.
Hair Snacks.
Perfect.